All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Heavy Reel Brewing Company, and they're out of Seaside Heights, New Jersey, and this is their Sun Goddess. So this is a New England-style IPA that comes in at 7.2% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed, time of review. I don't know exactly how old this can is because it does not have a canned on date. However, I do know that it's quite fresh, and that's because this one was sent to me by Heavy Reel, and more specifically Jeff from Heavy Reel. So huge thanks to them for this beer. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies they sent my way, and they sent me 9 beers with some stickers and this t-shirt that I'm wearing. We got the Heavy Reel Brewing Company on the back. It has a logo with 3 clown faces with X's through their eyes. I don't know if that's exactly like their logo or like kind of what they're known for, but I think to some degree I do. They have a lot of the themes with the clowns. So anyway, huge thanks to Jeff for all the beers. Now I talked to Jeff, and Jeff actually unprompted said to me, "Hey dude, you don't have to review everything we sent. Just enjoy what we sent. If you want to review some stuff, cool." Jeff, I'll be reviewing all the beers. I love the fact that anybody wants to send me beer, let alone a brewery. So the least I can do is review the beer. So I'm going to start out with the hop forward beers, then probably do that Jersey C cream ale that's like a Jenny clone, and then we'll move into the heavily fruited ones. But I wanted to give this one a go first because I've seen this one before. I love the label, and this one is brewed with Citra and Nelson Sauvin hops according to their Instagram. And like I said, I don't know how fresh he is. They do not have a canned on date. However, Jeff sent it my way. He is the owner, so I'd imagine these are pretty fresh. So I'm really looking forward to them. So we're going to give it a pour here and see what we got going on. So let's give it a go. Oh yeah, it's looking like juice. So like I said, when it comes to Heavy Reel, I've really just had their heavily fruited sours. That's pretty much what I know them for. But at the same time, I know they do other styles extremely well. I've seen other beer tubers review their stuff. I know people locally that have enjoyed their stuff. So at the end of the day, it's cool to be able to try other styles from them other than the heavily fruited beers. And that, my friends, looks like a picture perfect hazy of some sort. That's what that looks like. That is a hazy. Has that beautiful kind of like turkey stock, chicken stock, turkey gravy, chicken gravy, hop cum, hop custard, whatever you want to call it. It's murky, it's turbid. It has that yellow kind of orange color, a finger to a finger and a half of this off-white, super creamy looking head. When I poured it, beautiful, perfect carbonation. No issues with, being overcarbed, undercarbed, perfect to exactly what I'm looking for in the style. It looks awesome for a 7.2% New England IPA. Let's get a nose. Yeah, this smells quite fresh. Oh my God. So Citra and Nelson, I would have thought I would have got like a lot of white grape, white wine, your typical diesels from Nelson. This to me is a Citra bomb up front. Tons of huge, sticky, sweet peach, orange, mango, lots of stone fruit. But then I am getting like a little bit of like this passion fruit guava thing. And something that's been a running theme for me when it comes to hazies nowadays, a little bit of vanilla. I don't know if it's because some breweries are using lactose or some breweries are just using a certain yeast strain that maybe is more bubblegum for some and vanilla for me. I've talked about this before, especially with like Treehouse and Hop Butcher, where they'll say, oh, you get bubblegum, it's the yeast, and then I get vanilla. So I'm just interpreting differently. Maybe that's what's happening here. Maybe it's their yeast strain. But it has this vanilla, almost like peaches and cream thing going on. A nice big herbaceous dankness, like a touch of basil. And now that white grape kind of like white wine, not quite diesel, but like white grape, white wine from the Nelson. This smells awesome for 7.2%. Wow. Yeah, really nice. Smells quite fresh and just has a nice aromatic kind of intensity to it that I'm happy that it's here. So let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. And thanks again to Jeff and Heavy Reel. The first of many, hopefully, delicious beers. Cheers. That's nice. Ooh. Oh. That finish is different. In a good way. In a good way. This beer is done a 180 from the nose. The nose was screaming peaches and cream, sweet, fleshy, stone fruits and tropical fruits. There's a nice citrus vibe to this one. The taste is more of like a straight up like vegetal, but not in like a hot burn way. Don't get me wrong, this is not like hot burning. It has this big earthy, herbaceous, vegetal greenness to it that isn't a hot burn. Still a nice fruitiness, but this is like if you're somebody who's done with like the fruity, super over the top hazies, seek this out. This is different. This is unique, and it's quite tasty. Impressive body for 7.2%. This reminds me of like first time I had like a Feigen's beer, or even like drinking some of the Clag beers recently that are like 8%. This is 7.2, and this is like higher side of medium, lower side of full. Has a viscosity and a thickness and just like a fullness about it that is not expected at a 7.2% ABV. The mouthfeel is soft, smooth, and creamy. Still has a mild to moderate carbonation, so it's still carbonated. You can tell, but it's softer than anticipated, smooth, creamy. You guys know the spiel on my channel, but it definitely has a nice body and mouthfeel for sure. The taste. This is a fun beer. Real fun. There's almost a slight like, and I know this might be like, oh, is this an off can? Or no, it's not, because I've had this recently with some hop forward beers where give me a little tartness on like the tip of the tongue, or like underlying, or even on the finish. This has a little tartness at the tip of the tongue that reminds me of like getting a tartness from like a grapefruit, or even like maybe like an underripe orange. But yeah, right tip of the tongue. There's a lot of citrus to me. It's a combination of orange, lemon, grapefruit. It's more of like a white grapefruit, navel orange. You could even say like a blood orange. Has a little bit of a sweetness to it, but it has a slight tartness to it. As it passes through, the stone fruits hit, but the stone fruits in the peach, mango, apricot, nectarine kind of realm, they're not like over ripened, and it isn't combining with that vanilla I was getting in the nose to give me like peaches and cream or like a creamsicle. It's more just straight on stone fruit, and it's a little bit under ripened. This is a crusher of a New England IPA. And what I mean by that is, if you were to give me pints of this, I could crush these in 10, 15 minutes. I've already drank like half of the can. I mean, this I think is a 12-ounce Tiku, and it's almost, let's say we're at like 8 or 9 ounces. I've drank almost half of this, and like we're not even done with the review. Like this is an absolute fucking crusher. It's not super over the top flavorful. Like there is nice flavors here, but it's just like, this is like, I don't know if they have a house IPA at Heavy Reel, but this would be a beautiful house IPA where it's always on. You know what you're going to get. Super drinkable, not a crazy high ABV. It's 7.2. You could take it down, and that's kind of, that's where I am with this one. The finish is, again, that green vegetal, almost tomato stalk, like tomato vine kind of finish. It's earthy, it's vegetal, it's green, it's floral, it's garden-esque, but it's not hot burn. And I know that's hard for me to differentiate between the two when I do a review, because a lot of times when I talk about hot burn, I say that green astringency, it's very vegetal, it has a hot matter kind of quality to it. That's not what this is. It's just, this has no hot burn. Like there's nothing in my chest, nothing in the back of the throat. There's no hot burn here. But it has a greenness, it has an earthiness to it, and it's something that is a bit unique to me nowadays. Like you don't see it as often. That vanilla I was getting in the nose, not getting on the palate. This is actually, if there's one critique to this, I think I'd like a little bit more sweetness, believe it or not. Like a little bit more sweetness would, like, I think, ramp up that fruitiness, make it a little bit of a sweeter fruitiness, and then it will combat that earthiness on the finish. But from the uniqueness, the body, the mouthfeel, the drinkability, this is one of those beers that take the flavors and put them to the wayside for me, and just let me drink this beer because of the body, the mouthfeel, the fact that it hides the 7.2% well, and it's unique. Like, that's all I need out of this one. Like I said, 7.2%, you can't tell. Finishes with a firmly, almost bone-dry finish. A mild bitterness, but this isn't that sweet to begin with, so I don't even care if there's any bitterness here. The dryness really does help it out. This leans more dry than sweet. I'd say like 60-40 dryness to sweetness, which I don't really say with a lot of hazies. So, yeah, I think this is really nice for what it is. Not my favorite New England IPA. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you, but this is one of the more drinkable sub 8% New England IPAs, hazy IPAs have had to hop minute, in which I could easily house multiple cans of this, multiple pours of this, and not even blink an eye. So again, not an amazing beer, but a really well-constructed beer that's different, unique, and super drinkable. So Heavy Reel, their Sun Goddess New England-style IPA, I'm going to give this a low 4.25 and go 4.15. It's where I kind of fall with this one. I love the label too, the gold with the Sun Goddess there. It's nice. It's a nice label. Heavy Reel, a lot of their beers, a lot of the labels and stuff and artwork are really nice. In fact, Black Sabbath's Paranoid is one of the stickers they sent to me. Rainier Parade called it out. He's like, how did you not pick it out? You're probably listening to Taylor Swift music. And I called him a Swiftie, which is fine. Nothing wrong with enjoying some Taylor Swift. If you enjoy Taylor Swift, enjoy whatever you enjoy in this world. But I did fuck up. It was definitely a play on Paranoid from Black Sabbath. And it was funny is when I was responding to his comment, I was actually listening to War Pigs, so fuck me for being an idiot. But anyway, this beer is awesome. 4.15 out of 5. Price point availability, no idea. Jeff, if you watch this or anybody who buys Heavy Reel stuff, I would preferably like to see this in that $15, $16 realm. However, if it's like $18 a 4-pack, I could see it. I wouldn't want this to be any more than $18. If it's $20 4-pack, a bit rich for my blood, but Jeff was nice enough to send my way, and I got to call spade a spade and let you guys know what I pay for it. But I'd like to see it's about $16 4-pack. If it's 17 or 18, all right. Over that, a little bit too much for what I'm getting. But if this was a house IPA, like you get pints of this for like $6, $7, like fucking all day, every day. And availability, it's Heavy Reel. I don't know. I do think Jeff said a couple of the beers he sent my way. I think there was the thick heavily fruited sours. Those were taproom exclusives. I don't think this one is. So you might be able to find this one in their distribution footprint, definitely in New Jersey. So once again, huge thanks to Jeff and thanks to Heavy Reel for the beer mail and supporting the channel by sending a beer mail is pretty cool. I really like their heavily fruited sours. This is the first, non-heavily fruited sour I'm drinking from them, and job well done. Just from a uniqueness perspective, in addition to the body and mouthfeel, this is a good, enjoyable, fun beer to drink, and I can't recommend it enough. If you're looking in the, put it this way, if you're somebody who is kind of over hazies and over New England IPAs because they're too sweet, they're too fruity, and you want something else, check this out because this is different. And I didn't even get a lot of the Nelson influence. This was more Citra than anything, but if I was doing this blind, I don't think I'd say Citra or Nelson. I'm not getting a ton of white grape, white wine, diesel, things of that nature. Maybe that big, herbaceous, kind of dank, earthy, vegetal qualities coming from Nelson. This is more Citra-centric, but even so, I don't think I'd call out either hop, to be honest with you. So, and again, 7.2% hides extremely well. Yeah, so once again, thanks to Jeff, thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. We're going to have some more Heavy Reel in the future, and until then, cheers. Not cheers. The one other thing I mentioned is the first review. Wearing this dancing gnome hat that was sent to me by another good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Chris, who sent me all the Clegg stuff. He sent me this, and in the beer mail unboxing, I didn't know where it was from. It's a OG dancing gnome hat that he sent to me, and I don't wear a lot of like the camouflage stuff in general, but I thought, hey, I actually like this hat, but it's tough to get the I don't do the flat brim hat. I do the the typical like baseball curved hat, and it's not doing that as well, but I thought I'd wear it in a review, and I like it. I like this hat. It's very comfortable. I like the look of it, the old like dancing gnome logo, but I wore it in the same review that first time I'm wearing the Heavy Reel shirt. Does anyone give a shit? They do not. I'm shutting it down. Cheers, everyone.